Hi! Just recently I watched Tick, Tick, Boom, the new musical about the life of Jonathan Larson. And while I was watching it, I decided I would write some notes about it. So I've written the notes, I'm going to read you the notes and give you insights and things on what I was thinking when I was watching it. And I also went and looked at the soundtrack, or listened to the soundtrack. So if you hear any notes or anything where I mention songs, they're probably revisions, where I listened to the song, figured out the title. So, yeah, let's start. Hey, Editing Bookie here. I just wanted to say, this is a new style of video I want to do, where I do like a play-by-play review type thing. If you liked it, let me know in the comments, because I really enjoyed doing this, but I don't want to do it if you guys didn't like it. So just let me know and enjoy the video. So, things I knew about Jonathan Larson was that he wrote Rent, and that's about it. Because I know Rent, I know other musicians, I don't know a lot of people that write the musicals, I know a lot about the musicals themselves. Like, I can tell you about Buble and Schoenberg, and that they wrote Miss Saigon and Les Mis, and things like that, but I can't really tell you about Jonathan Larson or Sondheim or anything, so... I noticed a lot of the songs in the first half of the movie were very much like songs from Rent. They had that sort of rock, like real life type thing, which is really good. I really liked it. I noticed he was trying to write the perfect musical, like the character Jonathan Larson himself. He was trying to write the perfect musical, which is cool because everyone's trying to write the perfect thing, and you don't always write it the first time round. I noticed he dresses like Mark from Rent, but his story is more like Roger's. He's like that person that wants to find their perfect masterpiece sort of thing. I gasped when I heard Sondheim's name. It was really cool to watch this movie after Sondheim had passed, or hearing the news about it, because you can see that he made an impact in a lot of people's lives, and that was really cool. Thoughts on the song Johnny Can't Decide? I loved the slow, thoughtful manner in which the song was performed. It was sort of like this slow, reflective type way of singing. You can really tell that he has no idea what he wants to do. That was really clear from the song, not just from the words, but the way that the song was written. A favourite line from there is, "Can he make his mark if he gives up his spark?" Sometimes I wonder if I should give up writing to do something else. And sometimes I wonder if sacrificing my passions for more reasonable lifestyles is worth it. It's a strange concept, not knowing what to do because you're stuck in your comfort zone. You're stuck in this one thing that makes you feel so comfortable, and it's hard to figure out if that is the perfect thing for you. I'm studying a Bachelor of Creative Writing at uni. I enjoy the course. I have trouble choosing the electives to do that course, because in high school you're told, choose electives that will help you in your course. But they don't tell you that your course is going to need you to choose electives that aren't part of the course. My high school electives were English or language related because I thought, hey, they'd help me get into the course. High school in product design, you can't do product design in university, that's a TAFE course. I tried doing a design unit. It wasn't what I thought it would be. It was very hard. It was very theory-based and not what I thought it would be. I didn't get to do any woodworking, which is why I chose product design. My elective I'm going to do now is photography because it's the only thing I can do. So it's weird. Moving on from that, sometimes it is hard to choose between conforming to the life that society wants you to live or following your dreams, because you want to be individual but you're getting nowhere with your passion. So if Jonathan gives up what he's good at, will he still make a mark on the world? It's a very poignant question. Another line I like was, how can you soar when you're nailed to the floor? Like, how are you expected to truly thrive if you're confined to the mold that society places on you? How can you grow as a writer or an artist or a creator if the world wants you to keep within the confines of your traditional styles? The imagery in the song is really good. I loved the Broadway cameos in the Sunday scene. I actually went and I read an article that pointed out all the Easter eggs in the Sunday scene. So Philippa Sue, Renee and Lise Goldberry, and the colours of the characters in Hamilton was amazing. I realised that Joel Grey was in there, that was great. Lin-Manuel Miranda serving food made me think of Piragua Guy In the Heights, which is great. Not sure I liked the song Play Game. It was very odd in the whole movie. Like, you had the movie, you had this certain genre of music, and then you got Play Game. It was very confusing. At the end of the song being this guy going into an audition and going, I'll be auditioning for the part of Old Deuteronomy. That made me smile, it made me laugh. The line, can you explain the musical? I felt that as a writer, like, can you explain your book? That is the hardest thing to do. You know what the whole plot and the whole storyline of your thing is. It is extremely difficult to then go and explain it in a summary. I can't remember if it was Larson who said that he writes musicals based on how he sees the world, but I can see a lot of Ren in his life and in how he lived. His relationship with Susan, that was very rocky and different. She wants the freedom to get back into dancing, he just wants to write. A lot of relationships end like that, like the last 5 years she wanted to make a name for herself on theatre, and all that he wanted to do was write, and they couldn't help each other because they were too focused on what they were doing themselves. Thoughts on therapy? They announced the argument the same way that the announcer in the musical Chicago announced the songs. So it was like, and now, Velma Kelly in An Act of Desperation. It was very much like that, and I was very amused. Sitting on the chairs and smiling made me think of the press conference rag, also from Chicago, just sitting there like marionettes and then bop your head around. I wonder if Chicago was influenced by that, or the other way around, because evidently Tick, Tick, Boom was a musical, and Chicago possibly came after it. If you know the answer to that, could you tell me in the comments, because I really would like to know. I have this thought here, after the workshop Susan won't be getting her studio because she was supposed to give until Wednesday and it was Tuesday night. And she kept chasing him because she wanted to know that he still loved and cared for her, but his focus on the musical proved nothing, and then they broke up. I've never listened to Godspell. I would like to. I believe my dad found a record for it, so I might go and listen to that at some point. The song that plays during the rehearsals, which I assume is from Suburbia itself, really good. I really liked it. Meeting new people, they didn't like his creative truth when it was a whole conference about creativity. They liked the positive ideas, like sunset and the beach and things like that. It was hypocritical and stifling of creativity. You've got creative and critical thinking, and then there's just criticism and discrimination. Creative thinking allows the thinker to develop their ideas and turn them into much better theories, whereas critical thinking analyzes your ideas and figuring out how to apply them to real-time scenarios. Criticism and discrimination is just hearing someone's truth, replacing it with thoughts of sunshine, and that's what they were doing to Jonathan there, and I didn't really like it. Contradictions associated with the world advocating for peak health, both physical and mental, and then you have to pay for therapy and healthcare, specifically in America. In other countries, there's Medicare and stuff. It's weird and contradictory to be like, you should be in peak physical and mental health, but you have to give us a number of dollars for that. It doesn't make any sense. I had to visit the doctor for a mental health care plan, and my healthcare would pay for that visit. And then I don't understand why you would advocate for peak health and then you'd hide the pathway to that peak health behind a paywall. There should be some things that are free and then some things that require payment. Anyway, back to the movie. His relationships are falling apart around him and he needs to take a break and just think about his priorities. I was very happy Rosa finally replied to him. Where was she? I'd like to know that. Power cut is the worst thing that a writer can get. Was there a notice that his power was going to be cut? I really hoped his last song got written in time. Swimming could do something, I don't know. Also, he keeps asking why Susan won't answer his calls, and it's like, he proved that he didn't care about her, so why would she answer his calls? The whole scene of swimming, when the notes pop up, I love shows that do that. They visualize the things that the main character needs to move forward. It's a beautiful thing to do. It's a beautiful visual. I love it. I love the fact that he got so concerned about no one being there and then realized that he was actually early. I get that sometimes. I'll think, oh no one's coming, no one's going to do this. I've sent an email out, no one's replying. And then realize that, like, they're probably busy. It's probably early, things like that. Broadway rehearsal studio, probably the biggest step that he has taken in this entire movie. Really good. Also really glad Sondheim arrived at the performance. I love when musicals replace a character with the love interest. It's got a sense of, like, when this main character is stuck and he sees this person that he loves singing to him, and he realizes suddenly that, oh, this is what I need to do in my life, this is what should happen. It's beautiful. Like, in Rent, you had In What You Own, and Roger kept seeing Mimi in the world around him, and then he realized his masterpiece song is Your Eyes. It was really cool. Do any of you know if Superbia was an actual musical, or could you tell me that? Because I really liked the music. We had two strong women sing Come to Your Senses, and it makes the song 10 times more powerful. It's like in I Know Him So Well from Chess, and it's sung by two people, and it shows how much that Anatoly in that scenario had influenced the women's lives and could potentially break both women. And Come to Your Senses was so powerful and inspiring. It was a great track. I just really like it. I have sheet music to learn it on violin. If you would like to hear me learn this on violin, you can follow me on my Instagram, because that will probably be where I will post that to get away from copyright things. So Instagram is linked in the description below. So Rosa mentioned what he does next, and my first thought watching that was Rent, because all I knew was Rent. For most producers, publishers, filmmakers and things, they're always like, what will happen after you publish this book? And I've written something. I've written a novel, and when I finished it, the question that came up was, what will you write next? What's coming next? And it's very stressful, and I felt for Jonathan in that instant. You pour your soul into this one thing, and once it's been bought and sent out, it gets undermined by people who are like, what's next? What's coming next? What are you writing after this one? And it's horrible and annoying. And you spend so many years working on your rest piece. Like, I spent 5 years writing my novel, A Spell for an Eye, and Jonathan spent 8 years writing Superbia, and it gets brushed away with what's coming next. And it's horrible, and I wish people would stop doing that. My mum, I talked to her about this, she said, while you're still in the public eye, you can make more money by having something new. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, but give us time to get over the fact that this piece has actually been bought. Again, with a Rent thought, write about what you know. And so I thought, Rent. He knows Rent. You can see Rent influenced in a lot of this movie. My mom was reading about Larson, and I found out he passed away before dress rehearsals for Rent, and I like Rent a lot more now. It's actually my sister's favourite musical, so that's interesting. Not everybody writes genius at a young age. I published my first book at 18. It is not my greatest work. I was very upset about Michael getting AIDS, because it's the second time somebody's had something important to tell Jonathan and he's just brushed them off. It's got to be really hard to find out your closest friend has something possibly life-threatening, which makes the song Why so emotional, and you can see how much he values their friendship. When the song ended, it was great for the rain to set, and I liked that timing. The song is such a good demonstration of him finally realizing what is truly important to him. It's interesting to see how long their friendship had lasted, how much they went through. Sometimes you never really know how important your friends are until they're fatally ill or half a state away. I listen to the song, I want to cry. I feel really sad about that. It makes me think about my best friend and how far away I am from her and how much I want to be with her and talk to her and just be friends with her, which is why I'm really happy that we're going to meet each other in a couple weeks. It's great. The line, "I make a vow right here and now, I'm going to spend my time this way," is a great line. It's a terrible time to state it. It's a bit late. If you spend what time you have left together, that matters a lot more. It shows even if your friend wasn't there before, they're here now. They're willing to spend the rest of time there. I honestly half expected Michael to show up behind him, teary-eyed. They hug over tears and promises. That usually happens in a musical or a movie. They're like over there just like doing like a soliloquy thing, and then suddenly the person they're talking about is right there, has heard every word. I'm happy it didn't happen, because I wouldn't be able to write the rest of this review if that had happened. I would have been too busy crying and would have had to watch the movie a second time. I was very happy Sondheim congratulated him. That was an achievement. That is a great achievement. If I wrote a novel and an author that I absolutely love congratulated me, I would probably die. I would be really happy. I loved Susan buying him the book that he liked at the beginning in the library, the notebook. It was like a peace offering. It was like she was saying, "I know we had a fight, but I bought you this because I know that you like it." Sometimes you don't live to see your greatest work. That's okay. It's sad to find out that he didn't get to see Rent was so good, but at least he lived to write it. And so many people adore Rent. So many versions of it and adaptations were made. Sometimes it takes a person's passing to realize the majesty in their work. We had Sylvia Plath. She didn't become an amazing poet until her death. When Robin Williams passed away, people started watching his films differently. They laughed at the comedies, but they also analysed every scene that he was in. My mum always points out when we're watching Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, when Robin Williams smiles in that movie, it doesn't reach his eyes. You can still see he's so sad. There's so much like pain in his eyes. And when you watch other movies that he was in, it doesn't have to be recent movies. It could be like Flubber or Mrs. Doubtfire or something. And he always has this look of sadness, and it's such a weird thing that we never noticed it. And I'll touch more on this in a future video, because I'm going to analyze Dead Poets Society, so we'll hear more about this later. I feel like, personally, my works that I've written, they won't be seen as anything more than ordinary until I disappear. When I eventually go, people will analyze what I did, and something I've made becomes as big as Rent did. Who knows? We never know just how big we will be until we're gone. Anyway, enough philosophy. He always mentioned that he heard this ticking sound. I wonder if it was possible he could hear the time that he had left in the ticking that he heard. Jonathan literally said at the start, he was like, he heard a ticking that sounded like a bomb that was about to go off. Could the bomb have been his own life? I don't really know much about the illness that killed him. Could it be possible the ticking he heard was more like a metaphor for what was happening inside? Freddie Mercury, he knew he was dying. His songs afterwards seemed more somber. His Live Aid performance was quite heartfelt. When he sings "I Don't Want to Die" in Bo Rap, there's a different meaning, because at that point not many people know that he's going to die, but he knows, and it is the most emotional utterance of that line. His final on-screen words, they were, "I still love you." Could it be possible that Jonathan Larson had a similar thing? Louder Than Words is an amazing song, and I love it, and I sang a little bit of it and put it up on my Tumblr, which is also linked in the description if you would like to see that. It asks the big questions that no one seems able to answer. Like, why does it take catastrophe to start a revolution? Like, why must there always be a sort of conflict before we realize that something has gone wrong with the world? The June Rebellion of 1832, which I did a lot of reading on because I was obsessed with Les Miserables a couple years ago. That developed because there were tensions between the upper and lower classes of Paris. The lower classes believed that the upper class had put cholera into their water. And after the rebellion, the world began to change and people stopped being so critical of the class distinction. It took the horrors of World War II for people to see that discrimination isn't great. We're still working on it. But why did it take the Holocaust for people to realize there was something wrong with society? I really like this song, Louder Than Words. I feel like it's very motivational. It's a cool thing to ask, hey, why this? Overall, this was a good movie. I really enjoyed learning about one of the biggest musical masterminds, and the songs were beautiful. If there are any more musicals that you would like me to review, whether they are available on Netflix or through DVD or something, please let me know. I would love to look them up and watch them. If you liked this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I would like to get to at least 100 subscribers by the end of the year. I've been Bookie. I will post every Friday this month and then most Fridays next year. I usually do reviews of musicals, I read some of my writing, or I just do random little life videos. If you would like to follow me anywhere else, I do have a Tumblr, a Twitter, Instagram. You can follow me there. You can read my writing on Archive of Our Own. All that will be linked in the description below. And I will see you next week with possibly a review of Dear Evan Hansen. Thank you. Bye.